Hello and welcome back to the When You're Podcast, the podcast for when you're doing anything. Today we're talking about when you're watching John Wick 2. So this was, I guess it's chapter 2. Whatever, John Wick 2, John Wick chapter 2. You get it, right? Anyway, spoilers for this movie. I think that goes without saying now that I'm going to talk about the movie. I'm going to spoil it a bit, but I guess at the end of the day, if you listen to this before you watch the movie, I honestly have no idea what the thought process is. But anyways, so this one picks up, I don't even think it picks up right after. It just kind of picks up some time has passed, supposedly. I don't remember how much. I just remember there was a driving scene and then... So anyways, let's start from the top, right? So John Wick has just avenged his dog and now he's kind of now he's just on a mission to get his car back, essentially. That's how this is starting. So the last one, I felt like the last movie kind of wrapped things up kind of nicely, you know what I mean? I felt like there were kind of little to no loose ends, but apparently the one loose end was him not getting his car back. So, it's just a car. For me, it's just a car, but for him, it's a big deal. And it felt like he had already gotten rid of all of his enemies. So, it kind of just seemed like, all right, you lost the car, but you can, you killed the people owning it. You know what I mean? So the chances of you getting it back are really high. So it was just kind of like a whole deal. But apparently, the brother of the guy he killed in the last movie is also a criminal boss of sorts. And so he has the car. And now John Wick is going to get the car. So the opening sequence is him getting the car back. And I got to tell you, dude, it is awesome. It is quite... it's a really good way to get us back into this is the kind of movie it's going to be. It's going to be a bunch of action and fighting, and I think they nailed it on this one. So in this one, he's driving another Mustang. He's going to get his Mustang back, and he's already driving another car. So for me, I was just kind of like, what are we doing? What? He already has another car, but apparently that one is very important, very sensitive, and then we'll come to find out later on why it's very important to him. Even though, after them owning the car for so long, you would think they would just maybe burn it just to just to get back at him. But they keep it in good condition. They don't mess with it or anything. So anyways, he drives to find some guy with a key of sorts, right? Or an access pass, or it's like one of those it's like a VIP thing, you know what I mean? You scan, it's like a hotel key card. You scan it, you get in, and you do your thing, right? So he begins by chasing the guy, and then he gets to the place where his car is supposed to be, and he just guesses, not guesses, he could tell by the body of the car, but he was just kind of peels off one of the, the cover, like a bed sheet cover covering the car or whatever. He peels that off, and then he gets into his car, and then he starts going crazy. And that's when everybody in there gets alerted that John Wick is there. And that's where the killing starts. John Wick is trying to get out of there with his car and avoid death, and then you know what happens? They crash into the car, and they'll crash into it once. They don't crash into it twice, not even 3 times, maybe not even 4 times. But they mess that car up, and it's a sad sight to see such a nice car get ruined like that. But just to get the point across that this is not going to be an easy task to get that car out of there. So then we see John Wick kicking some ass like we usually do. It's hand-to-hand combat. All right, he doesn't just start out with the gun, all right, even though that would be the way to do it, and eventually he does do it. He shoots a man's kneecaps off, like right on the knee. And this is like, and I'm not talking like a regular. It's not like he's fighting himself. You know what I mean? This is like a big guy. So John Wick knows that he's not going to win. So what does he do? He fights dirty and he shoots his kneecaps. I don't even know if he like legit kills him, but I just know that he shoots his kneecaps, both of them, and it just, he wins the fight. He gets away. And his car is messed up, all right? Mind you, this car is messed up. And so he goes upstairs and he finds the brother of the guy and he's just like, you know what? Let's call it a truce. And the other guy's like, okay, truce. So now there's no more bloodshed. John Wick's not going to kill the guy. And then he leaves in the car all broken and messed up. Like you wouldn't believe it. Dude, he's missing a door on his car. The back is completely dismantled. I mean, the front of the car, like, you're lucky it didn't, like, completely get destroyed. And it turns on, he drives it and everything. So then he goes to his friend, John Leguizamo. I forget his name in the movie. But he's like, yo, can you fix this? And John Leguizamo's like, yeah, fine, no problem. You know what I mean? I can get it done. So essentially, after that, we kind of just, like, live on life. I think he got a new dog now. Like, I don't know if he took it from the last place or if he just got it, but he has a new dog now. And all of a sudden, he gets a knock at the door. A little ring at the front door. And he goes up there, and apparently he knows the guy. I forget his name. I think is dude, I can't remember the guy's name, but it's something D'Antonio. San Giorgio? I don't know. Let's just call him San Giorgio. San Giorgio D'Antonio. So D'Antonio is the visitor, and he's like kind of coming to John Wick for his services. He's like, listen, I need you to kill some people. And John Wick is like, listen, dude, I don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? But from what we've seen, and in the last movie, it's pretty clear that he's back in the business, but like he kind of wants to like avoid it. So this guy makes a point to tell John Wick, like, you wouldn't have this life without me. Like, you would not be who you are and live the experiences that you did with your wife and people if I didn't give you a way out. And he pulls out like this thing with his blood on, like he gave him a thumbprint with his blood onto like a thing, and that's a marker. So the marker is supposedly like a blood pact, a contract for whatever he may need. So D'Antonio's like, listen, do what I say. And John Wick is like, no. And so the guy's like, all right, it is what it is. Thank you for your time, whatever. And he leaves. And you just already know that this is not good. This is not going to go well. So, and it's not like he just says no one time, all right? He constantly is just like, listen, you owe it to me to do this. And John Wick is like, no means no. No means no. And I said no, and it's not happening, okay? I'm not doing this thing. So then the guy's just kind of like, all right, I thought we could be, you owe me, and I'm a reasonable guy, so, I'm just going to leave. So what does he do? As soon as he leaves, he gets like this, like, not grenade launcher, but like a rocket. Let's just say he gets like a rocket launcher, and he fills it up with a bunch of rockets or whatnot, and then he blows up his house. He essentially burns the house down. And dude, I was watching that. He shoots multiple bombs in there, and then you know what I was thinking? I was like, oh my gosh, the dog. they kill the dog again. Like I was about to lose it. I was like, they kill another dog. Like these guys have no, like the makers of these movies are just have a total, they just kill dogs for no reason. I was like, oh no, the dog is dead. Is definitely dead. John Wick, you know how like the explosion happens and he's just like, he gets pushed back. He doesn't actually get caught in the fire or in the blast. He just like boom, and then he just flies back and he's like unharmed and goes like knocked out. That's what happened. And then the dog wakes him up and licks him. So I was like, oh my gosh, the dog is alive. So that was nice. I was like, we got a survivor here. So essentially his home gets destroyed, burnt down to the ground, and now he's just kind of like, he's just like, all right, well, I'm screwed. I need to figure out a way to deal with this, or like how to get out of doing this thing. So he goes to the manager of like the hotel, the assassin hotel. He's like, how do I get out of this? And the guy's like, you can't. You just got to do what he says, and it's just one job, and then you're free. You're out of it. You know, you don't have to worry about it. So the only way out is to fulfill the contract, to fulfill the marker. And by doing so, I mean, in the long run, he's right. Like, it's just one job, you get it done. But John Wick is just like, you know, I'm always going to be sucked back into this life over and over and over again if I just let this keep happening. But if he fulfills what he's been asked and what he's told to do, he'll have nothing left weighing on his shoulders. So he'll essentially, if he completes the job, he won't have to live the life anymore. He won't have to live this violent lifestyle anymore, and he could be free. He could have his own freedom, and that's what's important here. That's all he really wants. Because to be tied down to that lifestyle, I mean, that's what's so crazy is that like he got out, and then he lost his wife. And then, you know, some grieving happened. And obviously, they took his car and his dog. You know, I'm not saying that's you know, that's not right. And they should definitely get their, you know, comeuppance or whatever you call it. They should definitely, something bad should happen to them. You know what I mean? And John Wick just feels like he is the bad thing to happen to them. You know, he's coming right back at him. You know, otherwise, I just say live, you know, just chill, you know, just live your life. You know, I always wonder like if what kind of like a different life he would lead if he hid. But if you hide, you die. If you don't do it, you die. If you fail at the job, you die. So like there's always a problem, you know. He can't just escape from it. He has to accomplish it. He has to do it. So it is what it is. So the job. He officially has the job, and he meets back up with the guy, and he's like, hey, man, so he essentially is just like, all right, what do you want from me? What do you want me to do? Like, you know, if it was an easy task, you wouldn't have come to me. And the guy's like, listen, I have a sister. I want you to kill her. And he's just like, what? What's going on? And she's like, listen, dude, my sister is going to be in, I don't know if it's Italy. She's going to be somewhere in Europe. I think it was Rome or Italy. I don't remember, but he was just like, she's going to be out there. And she's going to get like this very important position on the high table of like people. You know, I don't remember the exact thing, right? And they were just like, listen, I want that seat. If you kill her, I'll get that seat, and then life will be all good. You know, that's all I want. You know, you kill her, and then I take her seat, and then you fulfill your job, and then that's it. Life goes back to the way it was. And John Wick is like, oh boy. You know, he's kind of just like, but your sister, I don't know if she's like a companion or a friend of sorts, but he's just kind of like, I know your sister. She's good people, you know. She hasn't done me wrong. And he's just like, listen, dude, do it because you have to. So he's like, all right, fine. And from there on, it's about preparations, and the preparations are cool. Like I like the way that they organize it and structure it, and they get like they know what they're doing. You know, they're on top of it. So first he knows the job, he knows where she's going to be, and he knows that he has to kill her. Now it's just about what do I bring and how do I get in and out of killing her and then escaping or not. So first things first is, I don't know if he goes to the tailor first or the guns, but okay, let's say he goes to the guns first. First things first is, how are you going to kill her, right? So he goes to the gun guy and he's just like, listen, I need a handgun, I need a automatic, and I think he was like, he needs something like really big and powerful, like a shotgun or whatever. And so the guy's like, all right, we have this, and then John Wick is like picking up the guns and testing them out. He's just like, oh yeah, this is some good stuff. And then he goes to the tailor, and the tailor's like, listen, man, these are the suits. They're completely thin and comfortable and nice, but they're bulletproof. So you're not gonna die from a gunshot wound. You know, you'll be safe, you'll be protected. But the only thing is that you'll still feel the bullets. So they'll hurt, like they'll still hit you, and it'll be painful, but you won't die essentially. So the bullets will hit you, but let's just pray they don't go for a headshot. And then after that, he gets tailored, he gets the guns, he gets a knife, I believe. He gets a knife from the guy, and then I'm trying to remember if he gets anything else. No, those are the big things, at least, right? How he's going to kill her, where to protect himself, and that's it. So now it's just about execution. He has to do what he has to do. And essentially the way that it works is he shows up, he finds the girl, the sister, isolated and alone in the bathroom, and they try to do like this. They have a talk. Like, I would think he would just get straight to business and kill her, but instead they have a conversation. He tells her like, yeah, your brother ordered me to kill you because I have a marker. It's nothing personal. And she's just like, okay, well, if that's going to happen, I'm going to die on my terms. You're not going to kill me. So she kills herself, essentially. She slits her wrists, and then she gets into the tub, into like a bathtub, all naked and stuff. They try to do it in like this weird, sexy way, and I was just like, ugh, you know, I was like, cause no offense, you know what I mean? It's just like, it just felt a little weird. You know, I was kind of like, I thought it was going to be a lot more of like an explosive death, like getting to her was going to be more of a challenge, where instead it was just kind of like, he found her already, he's there, he could do it in an instant, but instead he just kind of like holds back, and then they have this dialogue with each other. So after killing her, it's not like John Wick's just going to get away without killing people, right? So he gets away from her, and she has bodyguards, and one of the bodyguards happens to be Common, you know, the rapper. So he what ends up happening? Oh, well, I mean, he's not just a rapper. I mean, he's also an actor in this movie, but you know, Common is in the movie. So Common is like the bodyguard of her, and like they're really good friends. Like Common and the sister are tight, you know. He's like, yo, we're best friends and we're hanging in there or whatever. And so after John Wick kills her, Common has to go after him, and all of like the people try to protect him, protect the sister and whatnot. So it's just a fight for survival at this point. And he's trying to escape. John Wick's trying to get out of there, but do you know the brother who hired him, who got him to kill his sister? Well, his people are trying to kill John Wick now too, because it would look bad if he didn't try to avenge his sister after John Wick killed her. You know what I mean? So it's all like a cycle. There can't be any loose ends. So he kills the sister. They kill him to avenge his sister's death. So that way he looks clean and like perfect. when in actuality he hired him to kill her and whatnot. So John Wick's fighting for his life out there. He's surviving, and it's looking like he's about to get killed. And then there's a scene where him and Common are fighting to the death, and they somehow or another end up in like an assassin hotel with like the rule is you can't kill each other in here. So they have to like take a break, and then they have to get right back to the action or whatever. It's something like that along those lines. Oh, no. John Wick goes to like sleep or something. Like he spends the night out there. So now John Wick has to find a way to escape and get away from people trying to murder him because they put a bounty. The guy who hired him put a bounty on his head, and they'll kill him for like $7 million. I thought $7 million was a little low, but I mean, would I kill John Wick for $7 million? Yes. But I just felt like they were lowballing it. Like, John Wick, at least 20 million, but it is what it is. So now John Wick has to escape and kill the guy who hired him. But now he's free of his markers, so he can do whatever he wants. So now it's back to the same old from the last movie, which is all about killing one guy. It's all about killing the person who started it all, really. The first movie, it was that Russian kid and his father. And in this movie, it's the guy who hired him to kill his own sister. So it's a whole deal. So he needs some help, He can't just do whatever he wants all willy-nilly all by himself, you know what I mean? He has to find some allies. He has to have some people to support him and help him. So he goes to the one person he knows he can trust. Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, that guy, and I mean, the Keanu Reeves and him are like, they're buddy. They're close like that, you know what I mean? So Lawrence Fishburne helps him, and he's like, all right, get in there and kill him, do your thing. And so they're in like some sort of museum in New York. I think it's New York. I think it's New York, yeah. So they're in some museum in New York, and essentially John Wick goes in there, and then he locks eyes with the guy, and then he has to like kill everybody to get to him. So there's this very cool mirror fight. Whenever there's like a mirror hallway, it's always interesting to see, because I'm always like, how do they hide the camera? Because it's mirrors everywhere. How do they hide the camera? But I guess it's movie magic. It's stuff I don't, I'm sure it's very easy and very basic, but I'm just kind of like, how does the cameraman do this without getting completely spotted? But it is what it is. So there's a mirror fight, and they're shooting, they're stabbing, they're trying to kill each other. And, John Wick is winning. He's obviously winning. He's destroying all of the mirrors. He's killing people. He's getting one step closer to the guy. And eventually the guy escapes. He runs away. And where does he run to? Where's the one place that John Wick can't kill? The hotel. So he runs away to the hotel, and because he's protected by the hotel's rules, John Wick can't kill him without breaking the rules. And we know what happens when you break the rules. You die. They kill you. They just shoot you in some random spot. So, John Wick and him have a discussion. They're talking to one another. And the guy is essentially saying, I could just hide out in here. You have no idea. I have money. I could be very comfortable in here for like forever. You know what I'm saying? Essentially meaning that he's going to survive and John Wick can't do anything. And if he does, they're going to kill him. So he really can't do anything. And then bam! John Wick shoots and kills him in the hotel. And the manager's looking at him as like, oh my gosh, what have you done? So then John Wick leaves. Oh, and by the way, he left his dog at the hotel with the front desk guy, who is I think it's Lance Reddick. Darn it, for the life of me, I can't remember, but his full name. But Yes, Lance Reddick. Shout out to him, man. He was great. R.I.P. too. Great actor. I thought he was fantastic. I've been I thought he was an amazing actor in The Wire, and he kind of has like a small role in this, but it is what it is. So he kills him, and he goes back home with his dog, and it's all burnt down. It's all in ashes, and he's just kind of reminiscing. He's just kind of like looking through the place, and that's when he essentially gets summoned to be executed. He's going to be killed because he broke the rules. This is what happened to the girl in the last movie. This is what's going to happen to him. So he's walking through, I think, one of the parks in New York, and he walks past the place. You think he's going to be killed, and then he meets up with the manager, and the manager's like, yeah, listen, dude, I've decided I'm not going to kill you. So I'm like, what? They're not going to kill him? But he was just like, but I will give you, like, I've decided I'm not going to kill you right now or whatever, but I will give you a head start. You have some time to get your life together. So about, like, I don't know how long he gave him. I think it was like an hour or two, or like 3 hours. Let's say 3 hours. He's like, you have 3 hours. And if I wanted to, I could kill you, but I'm giving you a chance. So there's this really cool part where everybody, like, in the background, like, walking around, he makes a phone call, and he's like, all right, yeah, stop. And then everybody there stops and looks at John Wick. So everybody in that park is working for him, and they could all be assassins. They could all kill John Wick right then and there. I thought that was such a cool moment, such a cool display of power and control. So after that, John Wick has been determined to be excommunicado, and he's going to be running for the rest of his life. He's never going to get a break. He has to survive, and anybody could be a killer. Anybody could be his assassin, essentially. So that's the life he's living now. That's, until I figure out what's going on in John Wick 3. But, again, this guy is just living a life. He's living his life, and he's now on the run for the rest of his, he's never going to be able to escape this. I don't know how he can, like, come up with a deal. He broke the rules. So hopefully he gets out of it, maybe not. It is what it is. So at the end of the day, when you're watching John Wick 2, be ready for some action. Be ready for some like complete betrayal and twists and turns all throughout this thing. But most importantly, the killing. The killing's the most important part. So thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys on next time. Thank you so much for following me on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. And thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.